nefarious, behind the scenes, shadow respect Muslims. Some of them have a problem with us, but you have got a problem with us, that's your problem. That's not our problem. Anybody who gives us the greetings, Assalamu alaikum, we give one better back if we can. We believe and we honor all Christians, true believers. We honor all Jews, true believers. What we don't have any time for is a Jew a person who says they're a Jew, but they're a liar. They're not a Jew, but they're using Judaism to shield dirty practice. We got no respect for that. We don't honor no Christian who claims to be a Christian, but on the quiet they are pedophilic, sleeping with little children. We ain't got no time for that. And we don't respect no Muslim who claims to be a Muslim, goes to Jummah prayer on Friday, but in his off license he's selling alcohol to the people. And in his news agents he's selling dirty magazines on the top shelf. That's hypocritical. If we say we are something, then our word should manifest what we say. Our deeds should manifest what we say. Thank you very much for your question. Yes, sir. The question from the gentleman in the front is that he has read that the Nation of Islam believes that white people are a race of devils created by a scientist by the name of Yaqub. Yes, sir. That is absolutely 100% what we believe. Let me just give you a very quick synopsis on that. You see, most people, like I said, they believe that the devil is under the ground. The Holy Quran says that the devil is your open enemy. In the Bible, the sons of God went before God to present themselves. And while they were in front of God, God looked among them and said, "Where cometh thou, Satan?" Satan was among them, but they didn't know that Satan was among them. And he asked him, "What are you doing?" Satan said, "Well, I'm going to and fro, seeing who I can devour." Now, with Caucasian people, we're not jumping up one day and just, oh, the white man is the devil. We're looking at the white man's behavior. His behavior to black people primarily over the last 6,000 years. And that behavior has been diabolical. Diabolical. And not saintly, not humane, but pure evil. And so we're not going to back down from identifying that satanic behavior and mentality. We're very clear. And the Muslims and other people who don't yet believe that. We said here a few weeks ago, hang around, wait and see. The white man is going to prove to you who he is. Because he's not getting any better. He's getting worse. And he's doing more and more evil. And he's planning more and more evil as we speak. Do you realize that with all the weapons of mass destruction that the Caucasian has built, and he boasts that he can destroy the planet so many times over with nuclear weapons, do you realize that as you and I are standing here now, he is in the laboratory right now trying to think up new ways to kill people? What kind of a mentality is this? This is evil. He is not satisfied even with his ability to slaughter tens of thousands of human beings all over the planet. He's still trying to perfect it. So in South Africa, at the height of apartheid, some scientists have now come out in a documentary, white people, and admitted that during that time period, they were manufacturing, going into the DNA of black people and manufacturing specific chemical drugs that would kill black people only. an ethnic bomb, an ethnic weapon. This is real. Right now, in Africa, they are pushing what they call birth control. They are pushing vaccination in the vials that they're injecting into many of the children and the people, pure poison. Poison. To stop the women from giving birth, and also like a time bomb to later manifest itself into various diseases. This is proven scientific fact. Go online and check out the white scientist, what's his name? Adam. His first name will come to me. His website is called Natural Health.
We got full circle from Australia. I'm taking a walk around still. I see Phil in the building. And Neil, atheist.
His wife and his kid, yeah. Go and work with someone who doesn't know. Look at them.
So what am I speaking about?
Perfect English. The words are just flowing out of my mouth. Don't you agree?
Be careful of him. Sky News. He's from Sky News.
Hey Sky News. What's going on, Sky News?
No.
That's your identity now. Your identity is Sky News.
Well done, Leo.
You're nothing. You're just Sky News. You're not even a person. You know? It's alright.
He's
He's
a journalist.
just Sky
Yes.
News.
He's the man behind the man.
Man behind the man. Yeah. Exactly.
Behind a woman, I stand behind a woman, not mine.
Why are you taping it? This is not interesting. You know?
Very interesting, Mr. Speaker.
This is not interesting. What I'm saying is not interesting. I don't know why you are here. Why are you listening? There's so much stuff going on in London, and you are here. It's crazy. Get out!
We are all
Why are
single
you
here.
fucking here, guys? I don't want an audience. I came here because I don't want an audience. I know nobody would stop, okay? And now I have you. I don't know what to do with you guys. Get out! I really don't. No, really, really, everything that you see in London is bullshit, really.
It's stolen property.
All the tourism is bullshit, I think, isn't it? I think there's no point to tourism, and I think all the modern architecture is also piece of, it's
Even
crap.
the architects are tourists.
Architecture,
Even
yeah.
the architects are
Exactly.
tourists. Yeah, they do not belong here.
Exactly, it's stupid. Architecture is stupid. And you know what who I blame for modern architecture?
The Indians.
No, feminists.
Feminists?
Yeah, let me explain, okay?
Okay.
Because in the past, all the modern big architecture were done by men that had their muses, okay? And they were inspired by femininity. But feminists are not able to be muses anymore. So that's why modern architecture is bad. Because nobody's inspired. They sit in office drawing straight lines and building straight fucking architecture, you know? Instead of making beautiful shapes, you know? So we need inspiration, okay? And I blame feminists for that, yeah, you know, it's radical. I blame feminists for ruining architecture. Okay? Sue me, guys. Okay, let's move on to some lighter subject.
Like Brexit.
Because children are in the audience, and I can't say bad things. Okay? How are you, children? I used to have braces as well. Do you like having braces? I hated it, you know, because I remember when I was in primary school, I had braces, and I ate the tofu, like the very kind of this gooey, yeah, whatever, and it got all over my braces. I couldn't even talk, you know. Be careful out there.
I think you should have braces again, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks.
I think
Thanks
you
for
should.
praising my crooked teeth.
This time, don't
I like it. You know what the problem with braces is? You stop wearing them, or your teeth are gonna get all screwed up again. So that's the problem. So don't stop wearing braces. Okay? And also, I used to wear glasses, okay? And I realized it's not good because opticians, they want you to keep changing prescriptions every year, okay? And they wanted to me buy into their scheme of changing prescription and paying them money, okay? But what you can do is you can just take off your glasses, stamp on them, destroy them completely, and then train your eyes to see normal again. Seriously.
Do you believe in conspiracy theories, Mr. Speaker?
Oh yeah, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. Tell me.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite conspiracy theory is...
Check Hassan coming in. Hassan, what about? You saying? You saying?
COE, as always, my brother. Good. How are you?
You saying fully sober today, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, bro.
I like drunk Hassan still. He's
Family,
alive.
was that not a train wreck in
doesn't come
motion?
in on a Sunday
Was that not a
drunk,
train wreck
so
in
you're
motion?
not
That was mad.
You saying what's the plan
I
for
can't have
today?
you here drunk.
Anyway, listen, is it live? Alright, family, for anyone that got offended by my junk rant, seriously, my heartfelt love to you all. But I'm still not going to pay the jizya. Say that as well, COE.
I like drunk Hassan.
The modern day Injil, is that what he's got in his, the Bible? And if we can just go over there. Yeah, no, you could, no, you have to.
There was three of them and they couldn't like...
Man was back here, the science of sin. Jack, what's up?
You always come along right at the end.
I know.
Did you see that I put all the
Yeah,
films
yeah,
up
yeah, I saw,
and
I saw.
I tagged onto
The
yours?
last one, yeah, I saw
Wicked.
it a few days ago.
So you just came, you knew I was coming to the end again. Good to see you.
I'm live streaming now still.
Do you remember this guy from last time?
No,
Nice. Thank you for your
the
your
thing that we
feedback.
have in common is that you, well, no, we have in common, you're a bit more educated than the other guys, but that doesn't mean you're any different. It just means you're more educated.
You're a good test. You're a good litmus test for can you take it at Speaker's Corner, because you give an
You were okay. I mean,
you give an extra you give an excellent level of heckle.
Here we go. Bit of cognac, yeah.
What's your background? Because you're obviously an educated man yourself. I've always wondered
I'm not.
what your
I left school with physics A levels.
all right.
And then I roller skate. No, then I did a mobile disco. Then I roller skated, and all the time I was playing squash. I mean, you know, I
Playing
see,
squash professionally.
I
I can't
see-
work out whether you're winding me up or not.
No, I was a good squash player.
All right.
But I see life very, very simply, and it has to do with just what you see. You know, what you see is where it's at. Like, if you are wanting to cross the road and there's a little red man, and he's lit up, and there's no traffic coming, cross the road.
Yeah, I agree.
It's as simple as that.
I agree with you. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Whereas the religious people say, no, you mustn't cross the road.
So you think people should be trusted to read the situation
just
and
be
act according
logic,
to
yeah, logic, yeah.
No, I agree with
Yeah.
you.
And if suddenly you see a van coming at the last moment, walk a bit quicker, yeah?
Yeah, I agree.
That's-
What's your name?
That's courtesy, yeah?
What's your name?
Rob.
Rob. Hi, I'm Jack. Thanks. You were literally like I loved how hard you gave me such a hard time that first time, and it really challenged
I was
me.
a bit unfair because you were a new guy.
Yeah.
That was, oh, look, I've got some more left. Great. Yeah. No, the thing is, you're more, what did you study neurology? Yeah?
Neuroscience. For brain biology. Stick these in a scanner, see which bits light up.
What worries me, you've got this sex toy in your hand.
We all have this sex toy inside our skulls. That's the thing.
I don't have a sex toy. I got a Canon camera.
I love that you're like getting your own back, filming people back. It's
No,
good.
I'm not. No, I'm just trying to get like this guy here. I'm trying to get an encyclopedia of Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, right.
To get a, encyclopedia, it just means walking around. Yeah.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, yeah.
Encyclo.
Yeah. Pedia means it's to do with podos.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
Encyclopedia.
Kiklot, circle, walking around. Peripatetic, wandering, whatever you like to call it.
Brilliant to
Itinerant,
meet
itinerant. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for someone who left school at physics A level, you seem like you've educated yourself pretty damn well.
Not really. I lived on the streets of Paris 3 months. I lived homeless in London for almost 7 years.
Really?
Yeah. So
Around here, or do you travel to come here?
no, all over, yeah. But these things just happen to you. It's not education is experience when it's happening. When it's happening. That is, like at the moment, we are educated. We are being educated.
Yeah, the exchange
Yeah, exactly.
leads to an education. And I don't think that's right. I think there's a real problem in the modern world that people sort of surround themselves with people who agree with them. Whereas the nice thing about this is people are coming down and they're inviting different views and perspectives, and that is actually that's key to
Yeah, but the thing is,
innovation
they're
and
all
creativity.
stuck
And
in this, you're onto something a little bit different because you're more into the person, whereas they're into the group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is okay if you want to be a groupie. But I want to be me, thanks very
right,
much.
so you're an individualist, not a groupie. I'm just going to grab my thing before I forget it. Excuse me.
But then comes the moment when you're going to be me with another me, and that means us, doesn't it? It's very amusing.
Good there, fam.
I like, oh, it's been secretly photographed.
You saying, Jack, you by yourself today?
Say again?
You by yourself today?
No, that's my friend and that's my girlfriend. And yeah, Rob, you're asking, the first time I came down, you were asking me, what does your girlfriend think about your closet masturbating?
Joking.
She's over there, you can
I was
ask her. I
joking.
know you.
It was a bad joke, but it was a joke.
So you don't you make announcements when you're coming down? Because you don't come down every Sunday.
No, I don't make
It's
it
random.
up. I just like to catch because I don't want to, I just want to take on whoever happens to be here, rather than having people who come down
For you.
with pre-prepared points.
Okay.
Like, that's too scary. I'm not ready for that yet.
Okay. I saw you come down early and run away early
It's
before the
exactly
heavyweights.
right. No, I am not a morning person. This is specifically to avoid the madness. So I don't want to, I'm not a provocateur.
Yeah.
I just want to give my side of the story I've discovered.
No, but Jack,
I don't want to take other people on
that-
and say
that
you're
is-
wrong.
That is what all these guys are into, but the difference is, with you are more individualist, whatever that means.
In my thinking.
Yeah, no, they're into the group, they're big boys, the big boys club, you know.
If people sincerely challenge your ideas, it might help you to grow.
No, I know, but I wanted to get my, and that was the point I was making earlier, but I just wanted to get my confidence up
Okay.
first. Because sometimes I feel like some people, their preconceived ideas are not going to budge, and they have no interest in changing, and that's not what they're here for. They're here to shove what they think down other people's throats, and they won't listen to the point. And I've heard so many times I've come down here, people just talking at cross purposes, and it goes on for ages and ages, and people gather round because it gets heated, but the conversation doesn't actually go anywhere. One person stays in their place, the other person stays in their place, and there's no progression. And I literally can't bear that. That kills me. Like, it's great that people are here. I love that. I think freedom of expression is so important, and your freedom of expression too. Like, I just think if you bottle it up, that's really bad for you psychologically. I think if you have just some place where you can go and say what you think, it doesn't matter how wacky your ideas are. It's good for you to get it out rather than having it in, bouncing around.
Good to communicate.
And also to be out there with other people, seeing, looking people in the eye, being around, being close enough, like you don't have to touch, but close enough to touch is different from having conversation down the phone or just endlessly watching stuff on YouTube.
I don't have this complex about phones, you know, because people can speak on the mobile and they can do it in so many different ways, can't they?
That's
I've
true,
seen little kids like this, and they got their mother with them, and like,
yeah.
yeah, it's a child, you know,
Yeah.
it's about this height.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I know, but it's, you see, you think it's funny, I think it's worrying.
No,
that
it's
worries
funny,
me.
It's funny.
No, the bit that worries me the most is when mums are pushing their buggy down rather than making eye contact with their kids, because kids are a bit
Look,
boring.
the important thing is, so long as the child is free to be what the child is, that's all that matters. It really is.
Yeah, you're right. I don't have kids, so I'm not really well positioned
But,
to
you know,
judge.
I really believe in freedom, I really do. That is my God.
So you going now? You going now?
In and out, you know me.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, it was your film got amazing comments, like, and Alex was really, embarrassed that people called him out saying, "Whoa, this guy's really channeling some Jordan B. Peterson," and he was like, "Oh shit, they know too much." He's always been passionately into this stuff, and he's read and watched Sam Harris, Jordan B. Peterson, all those kind of people. That guy who was filming me. He's great, and he's a really good thinker, and he's sort of really, he thinks hard about it, and he worries about it, and he worries about sort of the fate of humanity. And he's not a religious person himself, but he's a deep thinker. And it was good to have him down here because I feel like I'm a newcomer to this kind of world, and I've just sort of done the basics of 7 Deadly Sins and then started digging around the science literature. But I'm no expert in this world, so I'm sure that there's loads of other religious teachings that I haven't come across that should also not be thrown like baby thrown out with the bathwater, in terms of if the world does increasingly turn their back on religion, we need to bring some of the aspects of religion with us into the post-religious world. And I think if we don't do that, it's going to be chaos, because it's sort of just the pursuit of wealth for the sake of wealth seems to be the only alternative to a religious approach. For the masses, I'm talking about for the masses. Obviously, individuals make their own choices, but en masse, people end up just trying to be as wealthy as possible, which doesn't make anyone happy. You know what I mean? Like beyond a certain point, there's a correlation between happiness and income, up to a certain point. But beyond that, more money means more stress, and your well-being pans out. But people, oh, if only I could win the lottery, then that would sort my life out. No, lottery winners, it ends up screwing their life up because it breaks up their social connections.
You don't ever see the after story, you know, of people who win the
Yeah.
lottery.
It's the same with the stars. Like, you get a little bit of the washed out star story, but the focus is on the rise, the VIP, the red carpet, not the smashed up relationships and the, I mean, okay, they do talk a bit about the acrimonious divorces, but money just leads people, excessive money leads people into isolation, and isolation makes people miserable. It's easy as that. Anyway, nice to see you again.
Well, you too, man.
Yeah, but I'll drop you, because
Send me a Twitter message
I know
when you're
you-
going to come down next time. I'll try to come early and catch it from early. Man.
okay, cool. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Next time. Cheers,
Jack.
man.
Catch you later,
All the
man.
best.
Peace.
Let there be light! Let there be light! And there was light. That's why there's light around right now. Where did light come from? You tell me if you don't know. You're walking the light right now because the sun is shining. Where did the sun come from? Come on, you're very educated.
Takes too long to get up there, man. You might go up there, yeah.
This is 2018, folks. You don't know where the sun came from?
Way
Shame
to go
on
still,
you.
but takes too long to get up there.
On
I used to
God
drive up there all
said,
the time,
let
man.
there
It's a
be
3-hour
light.
drive to get me.
And there was light.
It's just up there. Then you got to come back as well. It's a joke. It's a long thing, man. It's a long thing. It's going to be an ill show, bro.
I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Muslim, or a Hindu.
It's all you, man. It's all you, man.
I don't see a reason why it should be there.
No, not so much reason, but look at the evidence of what you see in the universe, and you see the complexity of everything, and you see the DNA and all cells and all organisms. What does that speak out to you? Does that not speak to domain intelligence?
Honestly, this is my personal philosophy, but
You're not going to get the same way, you're going to live it or not. When you drink your diabetic, they die.
I don't feel respect not even a percent, not even 0.1%.
What about morality? Even morality.
For instance, how do you, where's the barometer of morality? What's right and what's wrong?
honestly, in my opinion, morality is kind of pointless, but I kind of just try to...
honest answer?
Yeah, I kind of just personally, it's just, it's kind of complicated to me, but I try to just kind of try to ignore the fact and try to act more moral anyway, simply because due to my human nature, I simply act as a moral compass.
See or any of those other ones, the first thing to remember is it shouldn't happen to a vet where they inject morphine into the poison victim, because morphine is a perfect antidote to strychnine. And as you're dying and the green flashing lightning and the cramp setting, your memory will be spinning back through every single bit of information to try and save your life until you come to it shouldn't happen to a vet episode, whatever it says. Morphine's what you need. Now, if you're a junkie and you've got morphine because you got the strychnine accidentally from robbing a chemist, there you are, you're sorted, you're going to save your life. Save your own life. There you go. Anyway, it's much easier to become addicted to morphine, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? When you reject Jesus,
It's not good for you. It makes you sick. You know they use potatoes to make that milkshake. No. They do. They use the same powder they used to make mashed potatoes.
Really good. It's not because
I think capitalism is the number one evil on this planet today. I know you're going to disagree with me, but I think if you take human rights seriously, if you take human health seriously, if you take justice and freedom seriously, you will oppose capitalism. You will oppose this idea that we're all just interchangeable parts in a giant machine designed to accumulate capital in the hands of it used to be something like 80 men controlling half the world's wealth. It's now 8 men, according to Oxfam. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of the statistics I've used. Just if you find them wrong, please tell me and I'll correct them. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I want to say the truth. Now, I just heard the Nation of Islam speaking about black human rights and human rights for brown people in the Middle East. And I have to say, he touched on some very salient points about British foreign policy. I don't agree with Islam. I'm not a Muslim, but I'm an atheist. And I don't agree on a lot of his theories about how the world works. But I will agree that the British Empire today, as it exists today, is one of the most dangerous things. Not only for brown people, not only for black people, but even for white people. It is a deadly force for exploitation. It's a deadly force for the oppression of people, no matter what colour they are, actually. And I think we have to take it seriously when, in 1997, Chatham House, the leading think tank for British foreign policy, produces a organization. We've got to take that seriously. Absolutely. That's coming from the leading think tank for British foreign policy.
Every country you know of, the only way they industrialize is through the exploitation of their labor.
We're now in a time where we don't need to exploit human labor for profit. This is an outdated idea. Now it's an insult to young people to get them to have to work, not only in places like McDonald's, but in so-called good jobs in offices. That insult their intelligence. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, most of the work we do in the United Kingdom and the West as well insults our intelligence. And I think that in the next few years, maybe a few decades, you're going to see more and more young people especially get more and more aggravated by the work they're expected to do. They'll have an education that puts them above the work that they're expected to do.
Which is a bad thing.
And they might at first use sarcasm as a way to deal with things emotionally, to sort of emotionally detach from the organizations they work for, all the meanwhile slaving away at their desks. They might initially do that, but after a while they start to use sarcasm as a weapon to expose the absurdity of the modern industrial routine in the West. I don't think we live in a democracy.
Why can't we just listen?
I think we live, my friend Ash just said we live in a plutocratic bureaucracy. I think that's much closer to the truth. Plutocratic comes from Pluto, who's the god of the underworld and the god of wealth. It's about the rich ruling the system.
There's too much content.
Bureaucracy, we all know what that means. Even very benevolent bureaucracies that look after our health and provide the means of life, things like the National Health Service, they're often infuriating in terms of how they categorize people, fob them off, get them to go through ridiculous complaints procedures. If you want to complain to the BBC, it's almost impossible. The chairman of the BBC himself tried to go through the procedure and he realized he couldn't. This is an idea of what kind of bureaucratic Britain we live in.
Which is a government organisation, nothing to do with capitalism.
If you complain to Apple, the BBC has nothing to do with capitalism. The BBC has nothing to do with capitalism. Is that really what you're telling me?
Who takes your complaint more seriously?
The BBC has nothing to do with capitalism. I will believe that when I see more labour trade union organisers invited onto the BBC to have discussions. Then I see businessmen and CEOs. I will believe that when I look at the recent history of BBC directors being elected, being chosen by the government to be at the helm of the BBC. Most of them come from the trade union sector or from the government rather than coming from big business. That if you look at the history yourself, I'm a 22-year-old stereotypical leftist who lives getting up and speaking on a ladder, shouting at all you what I think. Don't take what I say for granted, please.
Are you 22?
I'm 22.
22? Wow, I thought you were about 30, 20, 28 or something. Sorry, man. I don't mean to be rude. 22.
I'm bored of doing this.
Really? And you at Goldsmiths, excuse me, James, you're at Goldsmiths College?
Yeah, I am at Goldsmiths College. And this is not, I'm not trying to talk about my personal life and who I am as a person. I'm trying to make the point that you should all think for yourself. To go away and actually research what I'm saying. I will say some things today, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 10 minutes. And you may straight away think that's ridiculous. On the other hand, you may have certain biases to believe that what I'm saying is true. Either way, just look it up for yourself. Research the facts yourself. I'll say one thing: the BBC is a capitalist institution. It may be run by the state. It may have its directors appointed by the state. It may have a television license set by the state. But ultimately, it is there to promote the capitalist system in the United Kingdom. That is the first thing I'll say. If you read, for example, there's a very good book called, I think it's just called The BBC. It's a recent book that came out a couple of years ago about the myth of the liberal, as a liberal institution. Many people think the BBC is has a left-wing bias. That is a ridiculous idea. If you look at the way they've been treating Jeremy Corbyn, the bias against Jeremy Corbyn, I mean, whether or not you support Jeremy Corbyn is irrelevant. The point is that horrendous bias against him, not only in the BBC but in The Guardian. The idea that he's somehow an anti-Semite, or at least is okay with anti-Semitism in his party, I think that's an absurd idea. The Media Reform Coalition just recently came out with a study of this to show actually how, no, there's not a bias. There's not, there is a bias in the mainstream media against Jeremy Corbyn about anti-Semitism. The real problem with Jeremy Corbyn, as far as the elite see this, is that he's more willing to give more power to the British people. When you nationalise industries, as he's proposing to do, when you strengthen the National Health Service, as he's proposing to do, when you propose to nationalise railways, these are things that give more power to British people. Keep in mind that the British state, while it is overall an oppressive institution, it has some democratic control. We have some democratic control over the state. We have no democratic control over Virgin. We have no democratic control over the big corporations and big business. These are not democratic institutions. Now, that's the threat that Jeremy Corbyn proposes to the establishment. He proposes to give a little bit more power to the people. Not much more, just a little bit more. And that's enough to get him branded as an anti-Semite, to get him absolutely smeared in The Guardian, and never mind what the conservative press says. How
So
would
I
Jeremy
think
Corbyn look after me? Sorry? How would Jeremy Corbyn look after me? Ask not what Jeremy Corbyn will do for you. Ask what you will do for Jeremy Corbyn.
Now it's changed. When I ask about myself individually, now it's changed. You see, this is the hypocrisy of the left.
I just gave you examples. Just open your ears. I'm not going to repeat what I've said. So that's the first thing I'd like to say. The BBC does not have a left-wing bias. It has a corporate bias. Just as the Guardian does not have a left-wing bias, it has a corporate bias. This is how the media works. It's not just some transparent, objective institution. Both these organizations beat the drum for the Iraq War. Both these organizations beat the drum for the NATO bombing of Libya. All of these campaigns, I consider them terrorist campaigns. This is a second thing I'd like to talk about now. I think that the British state is a leading terrorist organization on the planet. There are two kinds of terrorism. There's the private terrorism committed by people like Osama bin Laden and the rest. And then there's the state-sponsored kind. And this is a very serious matter for British people. They themselves are peace-loving people. British people overwhelmingly are peace-loving people. It's their government that is a warmongering, violent, extractive, imperial institution.
Britain's the most tolerant country in the world.
Yeah, but British society is one of the most tolerant societies in the world. I am not actually from Britain originally, and I integrated here almost seamlessly. It took a few years, but I had no problem getting used to British institutions.
I need to go turn off my camera. Nation just finished though.
looking for it, bro, because
Done now, yeah.
disappeared and we're going and you've got your rig up.
Yeah. Respect. Man's going to lock off and come back in a minute still. Just going to sit on my camera to stream something else. He's still running this through, come.